Out of the deal for a second Donald Trump term. Here we are with just 1 week to go for all the marbles and the future of the United States. Greatness could make its return visit to America in just 7 days, and it will start with the election of President Donald Trump if it's to happen. The day promises to be like Sunday's rally at Madison Square Garden where I was. Anything you were told about it on mainstream media, completely not accurate. I was there. A multiracial, multicultural, multi-religious, bipartisan celebration of President Trump and this nation. Election night promises to be no different, inspiring, electric, funny for the most part, and joyous. If President Trump wins, the celebrations will go into Christmas. If Democrats mourn the results, all the better. If the current trend lines continue, President Trump will win a decisive victory on Election Day. If Tuesday results look like Sunday's rally, President Trump will be the most popular Republican since Reagan or Eisenhower. Gone will be the old saw about living like a Republican by voting for a Democrat, because if you want to live in a democracy, if you want the Republic to survive, you've got to vote for the Republican candidate for president. That's it. That is, if you haven't already, like me. We're just 7 days away from the biggest political shift, the biggest realignment since 1980. We are 7 days away from the biggest shift among Democrats since the rise of the Reagan Democrats. And here in Michigan, the birthplace of the Reagan Democrats, President Trump is on the rise. It's therefore fitting the Democrats have come home, that they found a home in the Republican Party thanks to President Donald Trump. Endorsements speak to this fact. And the speakers, the mayors, the representatives, the members of the business community, the people prove it. But the fact is this. President Trump has rallied the nation to his side. He's the most pro-Israel president in history. He's even rallied Muslims to his side. Take a look at this clip of President Trump's rally in Novi, Michigan. It happened over this past weekend where Muslim leaders praised him on live television for the world to see. Here it is.
As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war. We are supporting Donald Trump because he promised to end war in the Middle East and Ukraine.
Peace is a common theme among Democrats who support President Trump, a common theme. Tulsi Gabbard said so herself when she spoke at Sunday's rally at Madison Square Garden. Worst Nazi rally ever, by the way. All those Jewish people and black people and Hispanic people. MSNBC has no shame, neither do the other networks, but MSNBC, the worst of them all. It's a Nazi rally, please. Tulsi spoke from experience. She spoke as a veteran who values peace. So when she says a vote for Kamala Harris is actually a vote for Dick Cheney, she means it. When she says a vote for President Trump is a vote for peace, she knows it. Gabbard knows this and more. She speaks from personal experience, and she is not only a former Democrat, but a former Democratic presidential candidate. She ran against Kamala Harris. She ran against the Democratic establishment. And now, via the Democrat Party, Gabbard is free to speak her mind. Her loyalty is to freedom, and it's paramount. If Trump's party loyalty, which is why she supports President Trump, is part of the deal, she's all in. Here it is.
Here is the choice that we have. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, and it's a vote for war, more war, likely World War III and nuclear war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them, and who has demonstrated already that he has the courage and strength to stand up and fight for peace.
The very important part about party loyalty, that sometimes it's simply asked too much, comes to us from Democrat President John F. Kennedy. There's no doubt that RFK Jr. agrees with his uncle, and he said as much on Sunday at Madison Square Garden. Like Ronald Reagan before him, RFK Jr. said he didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left him. He said the party is no longer the party of Martin Luther King or Robert Kennedy, his father, or John F. Kennedy, his uncle. He said the party no longer stands for peace or freedom or civil rights. Like Tulsi Gabbard, he spoke from experience. He spoke from personal experience, having been the target of vicious attacks by the likes of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Like President Trump, he experienced what no presidential candidate, least of all a Kennedy, should be without: Secret Service protection. And like President Trump, he showed himself to be a profile in courage. He spoke of his uncle. He spoke of his father. He spoke as an American when he spoke out against big tech and big data and big pharma. He spoke against the CDC and the National Institutes of Health and the CIA. He spoke for America. He spoke in defense of America first on behalf of his fellow Americans. Incredibly important. Incredibly important. Here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And I say, I don't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. This is not the party anymore of Martin Luther King, of Robert Kennedy, of John Kennedy. That was the party of peace. It was the party of constitutional rights, of civil rights, of freedom of speech. It was the party that wanted to protect and nurture the middle class. It was the party that stood up to censorship, to surveillance, that stood up to the CIA, to the military complex, military-industrial complex. And it was the party that wanted to protect public health.
Yeah, the party that wanted to protect public health. Let me tell you something. I'll get into this more. But the get-together at Madison Square Garden, the rally. I mean, I was right there next to a CNN reporter, and she said, it's the darkest rhetoric we've ever heard from a Trump. Darkest rhetoric? It was 7 hours of joy and inclusion. Black speakers and gay speakers, men and women, talking about the possibilities of America and where we go from here. I don't know what rally they were intending, but it was not the one I was watching, not at all. We'll talk more about this after the break.